It's time for the College Hockey Show! And now here's your host, Jeremiah Maxwell, and the degenerate Bostonian, Mike Warino.
All right, good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I know if you were tailing me, you did. You are welcome. It's our fifth weekend in a row. The beard is traveling. I think everyone knows that, and it's not exactly easy to travel right now. So we're going to get right into it, as we usually do on Mondays, the wonderful weekend recap. Get right into the upsets, ones that we predicted on this show. Minnesota splitting with Penn State. Once again, Kevin McKenna goes negative on the weekend. Actually, this weekend he broke even, his best weekend in 3 weekends. I don't know how he's a top pick right now. He's a liability in his defensive end. Sure, he's got a ton of goals, lots of points, but you're no good if you're getting scored on the other way. He kind of reminds me of Isaiah Thomas, former Celtics and other NBA player. Led the league in scoring and also was the worst defensive player on the court. Another one, as predicted, Arizona State and Denver. We even got the right day on that one. For some reason, the Sun Devils play Denver to a very, very hostile game. Can't figure it out. Never going to understand. It's just the way they play. To me, it's BU and Merrimack, right? Denver and BU, clearly the superior teams, but for some reason, Arizona State and Merrimack just have their number. They find ways to win games. Coming back from a 7-1 smackdown to beating them in OT. The next one up was UNH and UConn. Very much surprised. I was there Saturday for the second game in the UConn win, and a lot of penalties on UNH that kind of hurt them. But they overall carried the play. They were the better team on the ice. UConn's goalie just came up huge. No other way to say it. And to Brett, who was on me about Guskowski, who had a goal and assist. When I say he's not ready to shoot on the power play, please don't send me a highlight from when he scores in the third period. The power play was 6 minutes into the first. So if you want to come at me, go at me, but feel free to check your timestamps and spelling. Those are two things you probably should get correct when coming at someone pretty hard. Or maybe don't retweet their stuff in the comeback of me not knowing what I'm talking about, but we'll leave it at that. Colorado and Duluth splitting. Again, something we said on the show. I thought Duluth probably had the best chance out of all of them to sweep. But in Colorado College, Mayback, the goalie's just unreal. The Avalanche found a kid in their backyard. He's in for, I think, a very long NHL career. I think would be the piece to put the Avs in the cup right now. I'm not a believer in the Woods. Kevin, Avi, appreciate you guys. How you doing tonight? But going back to Colorado College, I think Marv Beck is just going to be something special. Wouldn't surprise me if he's in the Richter finalist right now. He's not available to place bets on, but someone in the future I will be kind of looking for. Biggest upset in my mind this weekend, number 7 and number 1. If that was a split, I wouldn't care, but Wisconsin goes into East Lansing and takes both games. Very surprising. Didn't see that coming at all. Again, thought it may have been a split. Could have been a sweep on Michigan State side going in, but the fact that Wisconsin came in is outstanding to me. It's good on Shipley, good on Mosley. Those two kept Martone in check, and Martone did open up the first game, but they just had more firepower. Avi, I'm actually going to get into Backshot BU was one of the examples, and UMass was the next. When we get towards the end about the pairwise versus top 20, we'll get there. But yeah, Badgers with the big sweep, making a jumping up 5 spots in the rankings, absolutely spectacular and well deserved. Some close calls. Union, number 20 in the country, goes to a shootout with Colgate. That should never happen. I think that's the scare Union needed. As I said, they're in the ECAC. Season's still pretty young. So it's expected. They've still got some kinks to work out, but I think Union might have something this year. Definitely a team we're going to keep an eye on. Morozov goes pointsless with the 10 goals Miami of Ohio scored. So for years we talk about him, he has a bad weekend. But again, a guy we're going to keep our eyes on. He was a 2.5-star recruit of the USHL. I talked to Mike McMahon about him three weeks ago now, and Mike had never seen anything on him. So good steal by Miami of Ohio there. And RIT's win streak did end at 9. Bentley took it to him this weekend. It was unfortunate. I wanted to see them break the record, but you know what happens. Moving into the sweeps, we kind of already talked about this one, Wisconsin and Michigan State. And Wisconsin doing that on the road, too, is spectacular. And I want to emphasize this from the pairwise part. Winning games is obviously the most important part. Beating ranked opponents is your next part. If anyone's familiar with college basketball, that tier 1, tier 2, 3, 4, etc. It's very important to win those games. But winning on the road, beating a ranked opponent on the road, that is maximum points in the new system. That is 3 points towards the rating system. Again, we will go over that on a bye week in December. But just good on the Badgers, playing straightforward. Lindenwood sweeping Robert Morris. If you followed my tweets, you had them on both games. They were in a parlay for one of them. Unfortunately, that parlay did not cash. It happens. Kinesis and over Mercyhurst. Nothing too much there. Nothing spectacular. Beard, when you see this, I apologize. Air Force did sweep Army. I expected that to be a split, especially just knowing the schools. But this year they get the cup. Sorry to say. As a Michigan fan, I love seeing the boys in blue beat Ohio State. I said preseason Ohio State was a sneaky Frozen Four team. They choked against Penn State. They struggled against. They got smacked by Michigan 5-2 and 8-1. That's just not good. You can't be having that. It was at the Yost and everything, but as I said, it was a sleeper, sneaky Frozen Four team. I've definitely got some doubts in my mind now. It happens. I can't be right every time. I'm human. I am rocking a Michigan Tech shirt, but they did get swept by Minnesota State. And in my mind, that locks Minnesota State for the CCHA. St. Thomas will definitely put in a bid for them. Definitely going to make a run at that conference title, but I do like the Mavericks here. It's just no other way to say it. It's not the strongest conference out there. It's going to happen. Kevin, I will get on the BU part as well. What happened to them, I don't know. I'm sitting here scratching my head myself. 22 draft picks. You have second and third rounders that are healthy scratches. I get Iserman's out, but there's another drafted kid right behind him. I don't know. I do live in the same town as Jay Pandolfo. I will try to run into him again and kind of ask those questions when I get a chance. But it is going to have to be, I'm going to get as much legwork as I can there. Bemidji State over Northern Michigan. A couple of friends of the show went to Bemidji, played there. Northern Michigan's goaltending is coming down to earth, unfortunately. I don't know if it's because of film or whatever, but, to each their own. Quinnipiac over Clarkson, I do want to highlight that as Quinnipiac is a top 10 team here at number 8, and Clarkson has 2 top 10 wins with Penn State and Michigan State. So it is significant. Clarkson has a habit of rising to the top. They were the home team, and Quinnipiac beat them. It's just straightforward, straight up. That's the way it is. But overall, for the sweeps-wise, nothing really caught my eye other than Wisconsin one in particular. That one, winning on the road against number 1, that's just so it's hard to do, especially East Lansing. According to Everything College Hockey, 3rd hardest place to play in the country. So not an easy place to do it. Wisconsin, good job. Concerns, kind of hinted at it already. Penn State splitting. You just can't. Minnesota's fighting for 500 this year. They can't get their act together. They've got bad losses, like a UNH loss. Losing to teams in the bottom 40 is not good. And you lost by 3. You can't happen. Like they did this against Long Island. Yeah, you came back and won Saturday, but how many times, Penn State, can you struggle and not put away bad teams and lose to bad teams. Like I don't know what's going to happen pairwise. Right now, you're a top 10, but what happens when the pairwise kicks in? Union, again, despite taking a loss, put 13 goals in 2 games, so high-flying offense for Union. Again, I think they have something there. Colgate did take them to a shootout, but again, look out for Union's offense this year. It's not common in the ECAC to have a high-scoring team. Curious if they can overpower, the defense of Quinnipiac, the goaltending of Cornell, and Harvard, who's been who was supposed to be a bad team this year, taking those teams to the brink. So maybe the boys in Boston there have something more than predicted. Beanpot's coming up in February. Got a great game against either BUBC. It should be a good matchup there. Usually it's a cakewalk, so something to keep our eyes on. Ohio State, he gave up 13 goals in 2 games, and as I said, preseason, I did have them as a Frozen Four team, and I'm concerned. The goaltending isn't there like I thought it would be. Now, Michigan was number 2, now number 1, but it's your rival. You should always be there. It should always be ready to go. And I don't know. I will never understand how you just get smacked like that. And you took Penn State, has more depth than Michigan, to the wire. You really should have beat them. And I don't know. I'm just going to chalk it as a bad week, and I'm not actually fully punting on Ohio State yet, but I'm hitting the panic button. I think the Buckeyes will bounce back. Again, when they play Wisconsin, it's going to be a tough series. When they play Michigan State, it's going to be a gut-wrenching series. But then you have Notre Dame, who's fighting for 500 this year. Minnesota fighting for 500 this year. I think those will be 4 wins. And then when they put those 4 wins together, you have winter break coming up for 2 weeks. I expect the Buckeyes to come back pretty strong after New Year's. So I'm not giving up on Ohio State yet. Langonis for the defenseman. I don't know if anyone watched BC and Maine over the weekend. I was there Friday, and I saw Langonis go hard into the boards. Very clean hit. There was no penalty on the play, nor should he have been in the play. He just wasn't ready for the hit. He was treated on the ice as if he was paralyzed. Everything was strapped. Skates were cut off. Gloves were cut off. BC did a great job. They all skated over, checked on him, see if he was okay. As of Sunday morning at 10 a.m., he was moving all of his extremities, hands, fingers, and toes, according to I forget the hospital they took him to in Boston. He should have been returned to Maine prior to this morning. I have not got an update on that, but it looks like he's going to be okay. Expect him to miss some time, but overall, Langonis is doing well. Again, the player that was down for probably 30 minutes at that BC Maine game Saturday. On a lighter note, that same game, Rousseau records his first NHL shutout in a 3-0 win for Maine. Booyah, the starting goalie, he's been up and down this season, which is kind of surprising. Last year, I thought he should have been a Richter winner or at least a finalist. And now, he's riding the pine, but at the same time, Rousseau was a national development player. He was the number 1 goalie in this year's recruiting class. It's not like Booyah is getting benched by a scrub. And I don't think Booyah is playing all that bad. He's not having the season yet last year. Another goalie's not having the season last year is Yurgov from BU. And part of me thinks it's film. A lot of fans who are just tuning in to United States college hockey, who used to Canadian leagues, these players watch film 4 to 5 days a week. They have all week to prep for these games where, they're not playing a full 80-game season. They're only playing 40. And, when you're when you're the home team, Monday through Thursday, you get 4 practices. When you're a visiting team, you only get 3 because you got to travel that 4th day. But I think it's film for Booyah and Yurgov. I think that's why. I think that's what's coming through on them. We'll see as time tells, but that's what I'm getting. And BU gets its second ranked opponent win this season, splitting with Northeastern. I think that's what's obvious. I know you're saying why are they ranked, and this is where I want to talk about them. And this is why I always say, Beard and I we'll get into the pairwise later this year. Right now, we're going to go by the polls. That's just how the NCAAs do it. So that's how we're going to do it. Polls have BU at 18. Pairwise has BU at 47. Polls have UMass Amherst. Let me double check this. At 8, I'm sorry, BU is 19. Massachusetts is 18. Pairwise have UMass at 41. So take that in consideration when you're sitting there going, like, how are these teams ranked? What's going on? It's a different rating system. It takes into wins and losses. It takes into liked opponents. It takes into road wins versus home wins. It takes overtimes and shootouts into effect. It takes goals against into effect. It takes everything into effect. So I'm with you, Avi. I don't think BU should be ranked. I don't think UMass Amherst should be ranked. I think Cornell should be a little higher. I'm not buying into Union with the shootout win against Colgate, but I'm not giving up on them. I like them this year with all the offense they're producing. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. For Dartmouth being number 10, I'm not surprised yet. Maybe they get a little too much love, but last year they were number 4 at one point and then fell apart. So we'll see after Christmas if they can hang with it. Because last year after Christmas, they were number 4 and then played Merrimack and lost. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Kevin, the reason I would say BU is at the bottom is, again, they've been losing to ranked teams, and they're not blowing out bad teams. But lots of hockey ahead, and I think with BU, traditionally they come back stronger the second half. They usually do very well after the 2-week break. Iserman should be healthy around Valentine's Day, maybe sooner. And obviously he's their best offensive player. So something to look forward to on that. Honestly, for me, Penn State, the way they've played this year, especially against ranked opponents, I have them at like 16, 17. I actually don't have them in the tournament in my head. But that's just me. And I do think there's going to get some bias. I do think at the end of the year, due to Gavin McKenna's stock and how everyone loves him, they're going to do everything they can to gas that kid up and make sure he gets on national TV and everyone sees him play. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to him getting absolutely exposed when he plays a good team. I think they're going to be a 2 or 3 seed, play someone pretty equal to them, or at least equally ranked to them. And someone like a Shipley or a Musa from Michigan State or a Holt from Maine or a Morozov from Miami Hall won't be in, but Morozov, they're going to take advantage of him. Martone did. Someone else is going to take advantage of him. And he's going to get roasted. And he's going to do it on national TV, and it's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great. Again, Western Michigan, Penn State, power play needs to improve. Western Michigan's gotten a lot better. And going on McKenna, I'm curious what his power play points are versus total season points, because I feel like I see him getting a lot of numbers on the stat sheet, and it's all power play. Like, I want to know what his 5-on-5 numbers are, and I just haven't had a chance to dig through that data. But I am the Degenerate Bostonian. The show, it does touch on gambling. 5 for 7 on the weekend. As I said, that parlay busted. 3 games going to overtime. Couldn't get one of them. That was a little heartbreaking. But it is what it is. We're still up over 2 units on the weekend, 29 and 12 on the year. Brings us up to 10.83 units. So again, if you bet $10 a game, I've returned to you $108.30. So I think we're doing pretty well there. Picking at 71%. If you wish to be a capper or deemed the capper term in Vegas, you have to pick at 56. So there it is. I know the Vegas Basement Boys just found us. I'm hoping to do some podcasts with them. You'll see me live on their show when you get it, when we get that all situated. But again, guys, I do this for fun. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a professional or anything like that. It's just a hobby. But I do watch a lot of hockey. This is literally my life. Last year, went to 7 or 8 states to see games. Hopped on a plane, I drove 10 hours just to go watch one of them. And then I drove 9 hours to go see another one. Like, this is just what I do. It's something I love. And yeah, I do place bets on it. It's something I enjoy. I enjoy the thrill. I enjoy the rush. But please, 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 if you find yourself getting into a hole, reach out. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to win you $1 million. I'm not trying to cost you a home. No, if I place a bad bet, no, I lost too. Isn't Princeton beaten this year? I can double check. I got the Substack up. One sec, Avi. Huh. You're right. Princeton is 5-0 at home. But they're 0-2 on the road, and looking at next week, they're playing Bowling Green. Avi, that might be a good find for next week. Not going to lie to you, buddy. That's a good pick. So something to look out for. Princeton Tigers at home. I think their issue is they haven't beaten anyone strong yet. They do have Clarkson, Cornell, Quinnipiac, and Union to play in their conference, so that'll be what moves the needle for them. Bowling Green has not been great this year, so that's not going to move the needle too much. But I'm with you. Give them a little bit more love, but you also got to win on the road. You can't go 0-4 on the road, and so far they're 1-2. But I'm going to get in the new top 20. As much as it was a crazy weekend, it wasn't a lot of games. And you're going to see for the next few weeks with Thanksgiving and Christmas, less and less games going on, more tournament play. We got the Icebreaker coming up. You've got the not the Frozen Four, the Icy Four, I think it's called. Let me double check these tournaments here. The Friendship Four over in Ireland. Adirondack Winter Invitationals coming up, and then a bunch of non-conference play coming up next week. Notre Dame and BC will be in town. Michigan, Harvard. I'm probably going to be at those. The home and home between Providence, Colorado College will be happening. It's a lot of interplay next week. Very exciting stuff. But new top 20s, Michigan jumps into number 1 from number 2. Rightfully so. Michigan State got swept, and Michigan swept Ohio State, receiving 42 out of the 50 first-place votes. Wisconsin jumps up 5 spots to number 2. I like that move. I 100% agree. Michigan State lost. Denver lost. Minnesota Duluth lost. Western Michigan just hasn't been strong. 100% Wisconsin needs to be there. They don't have a bad loss yet where the other ones do. Michigan State falls 5 spots to number 3. He just got swept at home. I'm sorry. Yeah, but they are still getting 5 first-place votes. I get it. I think they're the best team in the country. I think they're going to win it all. What it will come down to is when they play, most likely in Allentown against Michigan. They play Michigan 7 times when you factor in the Big Ten tournament. So anything can happen that 7th game. You're literally walking into a game 7 on a neutral site. So let that be. Denver falls to 4 from 3. You did lose in Arizona State in overtime. I get why you fall 1. Duluth, you lost. Dakota stays the same. Western Michigan jumps up a spot. Quinnipiac jumps up a spot. Penn State, falls, and they were 5. Now they're 9. And again, you can't lose to Minnesota. Not this year. They're just not a good team. Maine stays idle, splitting with BC, which makes sense. You're number 10. They're number 15. You won on the road. You lost on the road. I get it. Something to look out for Maine next week. They are going to have a suspended player for Friday's game, and then obviously the defenseman's out. So probably look for some action against Maine next week on my part. Northeastern jumps up 1 spot, getting 3 out of 4 points against BU. I guess I get it. Connecticut falls that 1 spot, and then Connecticut, you were outplayed by UNH. So, and you did lose a game, so I get why. I probably would have dropped you a little more, but there's not a lot of strength behind you. Dartmouth seems to be the wild card team this year. Avi, I know you were talking about them, and that's something we're going to, it's a team we're going to keep an eye on. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. Wisconsin did beat Michigan once, and I'm not going to say UConn's overrated yet. I'm keeping the faith in the Huskies. Viking, who I was drooling over this year, has not looked great in the 3 games I've watched him play. So am I that kid's kryptonite? I don't know. Really sad he hasn't produced when I go to see him. It seems like every other game he plays great. Minnesota State stays idle. You got to beat ranked opponents to move up, but I expect them to win that division. BC stays the same. Providence stays the same. Cornell jumps up 2 spots. So that was kind of interesting. So Ivy's getting a little bit of love. UMass, BU, the H drop 1 respectively, and Union rounds out the top 20. I will say Dartmouth is playing Arizona State twice over winter break. Expect that to, be a measuring stick, because even though Arizona State isn't ranked, I expect them to, that's something to look forward to. Obviously, stop getting into my Tuesday games. I'm about to talk about them. UConn is hosting Stonehill tomorrow night. UConn, you need to win by 2 to, again, make the pairwise look good. A win is a win, sure, but you got to win by 2 or 3. Hopefully, we can get some action on that. We'll see. Bentley is at West Point, and I do expect the Knights to turn it around. You're getting swept by Air Force. That's very bitter to them. The academies, in terms of sport, hate each other. We all know they love each other and work very hard with each other, but you don't lose. And then I expect them to bounce back against Bentley. I will say I got to give some love to Alaska. They played 6 games in 9 days. They lost to Holy Cross on Sunday. They're now on a nice trip home. Certainly got the most out of this weekend. And I will not talk to you guys before Wednesday, so I'm going to get into that one as well. 2 p.m. at Lawler. Notre Dame will be at Merrimack. I will be there. I will give you as many updates as I can while I'm there. I'm excited to see the Golden Helmets. I do believe Merrimack takes this one. Just kind of looking at Notre Dame here. As I said, they're fighting for 500. They've yet to get an away victory. Merrimack's 4-2 at home. So I really like Merrimack here. Expecting a big win. And usually with a bigger crowd, Merrimack plays better. Like BU was a sold-out game, and they took BU to the wire. Also on Wednesday, Holy Cross and Quinnipiac. I'm expecting a Quinnipiac smackdown there. Hey, Avi, I'll give you a gentleman's bet. Hit me in the DMs. It should be a close to even pick anyway, so no need for the casinos to take our money. And then lastly, Michigan State Colgate. Michigan State, I think, is going to win by 3 or 4. This should be a cakewalk. We'll see. There's no action on Thanksgiving. I will jump on at sometime Thanksgiving, guys. Last year I did it around 10:30, 11. Basically, it's going to be when I'm done with all my Thanksgiving prep, and I've got 30 minutes. I will run through everything that happened Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'll run through what goes on Friday. Like the Friendship 4, that's in Northern Ireland. That's the Belfast tournament. First time in forever, Notre Dame is not there. Kind of surprising. Adirondack Invitational, that's at Lake Placid. Clarkson and St. Lawrence host that every year. UMass Lowell was co-winner last year. They're returning, and Alaska will be there. And then there's a bunch of non-conference games. I'll get into those at Thursday when I pop on for Thanksgiving. I will say I'm doing a doubleheader Friday, Notre Dame and BC at 1 o'clock. I will be there. I'm going to stay in Boston if anyone wants to join me for beverages or food, and then I'll be at Harvard at 7. Apologize, guys. No giveaways this weekend. Look for more next weekend. But that is what I have for tonight. Again, I know I'm kind of traveling here. I don't have the home setup. I want to thank you guys very much for bearing with me here. As I said, we're looking at in December, there's a few bye weeks, and Beard and I will do, like we did last year, a pairwise special. But if I could any questions I can answer, you want them answered right away. My X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, scrolling below. My Instagram's the same thing as that. Reach out as well. Brown at Northeastern Saturday. I might. No, I'm at Harvard again. As I said, guys, Michigan's my favorite team. There's no other way to say it. I'll give you the quick rundown on that because many have asked, growing up in Boston, why are you a Michigan boy? Grandfather's in the Air Force. My dad grew up in Okinawa, Japan. The only American sports on TV are the University of Michigan. So for 8 years, that's all he got to watch. And when that's the only team on, you root for him. So he came home. Living in Boston, he watched this weird guy named Tom Brady play quarterback. And then he got drafted by the Patriots. And I think you guys can figure out the rest and why I like Michigan. It's just the house I grew up in. So to the number one team in the country, hail to the victors. I know it's a short show, only 30 minutes tonight. I want to thank you guys very much. Shoot me a DM for any questions. To the Vegas boys who are watching this on the recap of the stream, appreciate you guys. Let me know. Obviously, I'll give you guys more picks. If anyone's looking for sleeper picks or anything like that, you guys know where to text me, find me. I'll send you games I like but I don't love. Maybe I'm betting on them, maybe I'm not. Most likely not, but I'm kind of leaning one way, shall we say. But cheers, guys, and have a good night.